Vâng, thưa tất cả quý vị ở đây, quý vị trưởng thưa, quý vị đại diện các tổ chức hội đoàn, chúng tôi xin phép được trình bày bằng tiếng Anh theo như lời yêu cầu của ban tổ chức. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen and friends and colleagues, I'm here today to talk about, to give a very brief overview of the history of Vietnamese refugees. Currently, there are about over 5 million Vietnamese in the diaspora, roughly. And roughly about half of them were refugees or descendants of refugees. Among those, over 2.5 million refugees, former refugees, about 1 million who escaped Vietnam by boat. Actually, no one knows exactly the number of people who escaped by boat. But we're defined as both people as a community. That's our identity. So right in the aftermath of the fall of Saigon on April 30th, 1975, there were about 120,000 evacuees. These are the people who just escaped by boat. They headed towards the open seas and they were picked up by the Seventh Fleet of America. And then after that, the waves upon waves of boat people. And I and my family were boat people, my wife and her family were boat people. Many of us here escaped Vietnam to freedom by boat. Those are very perilous voyages. Many of the boat people perished at sea. No one knows, no one has the exact number of how many died at sea. But there's a common agreement that there were about 200,000 to 300,000 who didn't make it to freedom. And as Will mentioned, in 1996, all the camps, refugee camps of the boat people were closed. And all those who still remained in the camps were forced back to Vietnam. But luckily, thanks to Congressman Christopher Smith, I saw him taking a picture with some of you yesterday, right? And he introduced a bill saying that no American tax dollars to finance forced repatriation of Vietnamese boat people. All the countries in the region, even the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, counted on American tax dollars to carry out forced repatriation. Now they're starved of the financing part of it. So they couldn't do anything. So they had to come to compromise to allow American INS at this time, INS now USCIS, adjudicators to go to Vietnam and re-interview all those that have been repatriated and bring them to the US. And 20,000 almost made it back to freedom in the US. So that's about in 2000. So at the time I thought, oh geez, the boat people era is now closed. We have accomplished our mission, so we could rest. But no. The next year, hundreds of Montagnard Christians escaped to Cambodia and Thailand again. Why? Because in 2001, there was peaceful demonstration by tens of thousands of Montagnard Christians just praying the government to leave them alone, to let them be free with their own belief, religious belief, and to stop expropriating their land, the ancestral land. They were crushed. Hundreds were killed. So they escaped. Hundreds were sent to prison. Some were sentenced to 21 years in prison. And then 2004, another wave of demonstration in the Southern Islands, and 2008. So more and more Montagnard escaped to Cambodia and Thailand. But then there was a turning point. 2007. A new group of asylum seekers fleeing to Thailand. These are dissidents. Why 2007? Because at the time, the new Prime Minister Nguyen Tân Dũng, a lot of people in Vietnam at the time expected, hoped that he would be a change, a factor of change, because he promised a lot. But as soon as he seized power, he launched a major crackdown. Father Nguyen Van Ly was arrested, Nguyen Van Dai was arrested, if you remember. Lady Công Nhân this year. Waves of people. That's almost a decimation of all the dissidents movements. So they escaped to Thailand. and also the Hmong, and also the Khmer Krom Buddhists. They started to escape to Thailand. That's when I led a delegation of lawyers to go to Thailand, pick up the cases, help them, fill out applications, to get recognized as refugees by the UNHCR. But there are more and more coming. So by 2010, there are hundreds of new refugees already in Thailand. So we established a permanent presence in Thailand to this day. So to this day, we have helped about 3,500 Vietnamese from Vietnam fleeing to Thailand, including almost 1,000 Montagnard Christians, 700 Hmong Christians, many hundreds of Khmer Krom Buddhists. There's Hoa Hao, there's Buddhists, Unified Buddhist members, and Catholics, you name it, and many dissidents. Even in this room, I know someone referred to me, a very young lady who fought for democracy and freedom in Vietnam. She went to Thailand with her family, and she just resettled to Vancouver, Canada. So there's strong resistance. So the presence of refugees, Vietnamese refugees in Thailand, is a sign of ongoing resistance in Vietnam 50 years after the war ended. And I would like to end with a special expression of gratitude for all these years of our operation in Thailand to defend our people, our refugees. We didn't get any funding from any government. We got supported by donations from our own community, from the diaspora. That's why we have not been affected by the recent cuts in funding, right, from the US government. So we truly appreciate that. But I'd like to also send out a strong message. Among those refugees in Thailand, there are many human rights defenders. They continue to defend their rights, and also they reach back to Vietnam, to their villages, to their co-religionists, and their communities of persecuted Christians, persecuted indigenous people, Buddhists, Khao Dai, etc., to build up the capacity for their own people in Vietnam to continue to resist, to continue to promote their freedom, to defend their freedom, and also to build up civil society, which will be the seed for democracy in the future. With that, I would like to thank everyone here, and thank you, my deep thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share about the plight of refugees throughout the past 50 years of Vietnam.